Hello everyone and welcome back to Prehistoric Planet 2 for episode 2, Badlands. So let's not waste any time and get straight into the episode. So the episode itself was another great one with a variety of different dinosaurs to enjoy. I did notice the episode stay in Asia for the whole runtime, but that doesn't bother me much. So let's get straight into the first scene. Um, where we are in the Deccan Traps of central India, one of the most volcanic regions of the late Cretaceous, which is often thought to have been a factor in the decline of many dinosaurs towards the end of the Maastrichtian, in which the show is currently set. Here we meet Icysaurus, a titanosaurian sauropod of the Indian subcontinent, shown here migrating across the active lava flats. The whole herd is comprised of females who are journeying to a nesting site on the other side of the volcanic flats. They pick their routes through the dangerous lands as there's a lot of lava around. Jeez. Yeah, I was honestly surprised that so many were actually making this perilous journey, but several animals today make fairly perilous journeys across very, you would think, inhospitable landscapes, but I guess this isn't called Badlands for no reason. So they meander across the flats, dodging lava and fiery rivers. This shot was honestly very well done. Like, you've got the herd, the column of Icysaurus right alongside the river of lava. Really hope none of them stepped in. I'm sure there's a fossil out there of an Icysaurus that... Actually, no, that fossil probably wouldn't have been well preserved. um, yeah, so the lava flats are releasing clouds of sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide. So these are very toxic gases which are heavier than air, forming a blanket across the earth, well, the ground. But yeah, this is toxic to any organism that breathes it. So this is something that was shown in Walking with Dinosaurs back in the day, where a T-Rex walked into a volcanic region, and when it lowered its head, it would start to feel the effects. So like only a few breaths would be able to kill. So the long necks of the Icysaurus allowed them to keep their heads above the toxic layer, which is an evolutionary advantage which probably allowed them to go here when many others would perish. And yeah, but this journey did not remain the same for long, as the herd reaches a decline in the land, which takes them into the gas layer. The rising of the sun and gradual heating causes the gas to rise further, which does not help the Icysaurus. That is certainly a no-no on nature's part. So several Icysaurus females are becoming weary after taking several breaths of the fumes, which begin to suffocate them, and a few almost collapse. Yeah, so you never want to find yourself in a volcanic gas field. That would really not be a good way to go. So they then find a slope and begin climbing to get to higher ground and manage to escape the gas. And then they have reached their final destination. Well, not their final destination, but the reason why they crossed the volcanic lava flats. A large volcanic caldera, where at the top, a crater which has several Icysaurus females already inside, preparing to lay their eggs. So they're using the volcanic soil as an incubator for their large eggs, and we will return to this topic later for when Prehistoric Planet Uncovered at the end of the episode shows how dinosaurs were good parents. I forgot to cover this last time, but yeah, I think I should cover them each time because they're actually very interesting. So then we hop over to the deserts of Central Asia, not too far from the Indian subcontinent, where we come upon a new brood of Velociraptor hatchlings, and they are very cute, by the way. Like, look at them, they're like little baby chickies, and I'm honestly glad that these youngsters were at the mercy of the filmmakers. There's several babies seem to die in the show, but these Velociraptors were spared, so lucky them. Not so lucky are the other baby dinosaurs that just keep on dying. So the pack and their young are preparing to move off to find prey, which is coming their way. As several miles away, Rainfall has created a fresh grazing area for herbivores and a water source to sustain many thirsty desert animals. Really wonder where they filmed this, because this is a beautiful shot. Is this in the Sahara? Maybe? I don't know. But, yeah, this is a very pretty area. Unless this is completely CGI, but, I don't think so. Like, this looks like something that would be real. Look at that. That's beautiful. So, migrating towards this fresh new growth and water is a herd of herbivores made up of the giant nameless Mongolian titan and several smaller Nemectosaurus from Season 1, where they gathered around the waterhole alongside the Therizinosaurus, the Barsbolia, Tartia, Quetzalcoatlus, and Mononicus. And among them is a newcomer to the show, the Prenocephaly, a small pachycephalosaurid of the Nemec Formation in Mongolia, utilizing larger sauropods as a large method of protection. A large maze of canyons lie ahead, bringing the herd into tighter spaces, which creates nervousness in the herd, and for good reason, as the velociraptors are waiting for them on the cliff tops. But of course the raptors wouldn't be capable of taking down the titanosaurs. Like, they may be able to in Jurassic World Evolution 2, but those are slightly larger raptors, but even they wouldn't be able to, so I mean, it's not meant to be realistic, right? But they are after the smaller Prenocephaly, these raptors, and are waiting for larger predators to separate the sauropods from their smaller targets. And those larger predators soon arrive in the form of the returning Tarbosaurus from last season. The Asian equivalent of T-Rex is also stalking the herd and going after the larger Nemectosaurus. From the surrounding shadows, the Tarbosaurus watch the herd until they get to the right spot in the form of a ledge that the sauropods come to, and a poor Nemectosaurus falls and seems to die on the impact with the hard ground. I can only imagine it broke its neck when it landed, but yeah, that was a horrible way to go. Poor thing. It looks like it was actually shoved off by the much larger Mongolian titans. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot smaller, so it's easy to understand that such a much larger animal would be able to push it off. So the Tarbosaurus then move into to finish the sauropods, and well, the sauropod, like, hopefully no more died, and they claim their meal. This is an awesome shot, by the way. This just makes the Tarbosaurus look so cool. Yeah, it just looks awesome in this shot. So the panic creating a stampede, the Mongolian titans and the Nemectosaurus. The smaller Prenocephaly spring and escape and head for higher ground to escape the panic. Unknowingly running into the jaws of the swift velociraptors that were waiting for them. And this scene, I love this ambush. Like, this was awesome, because when the Prenocephaly got to the top of the ledge, a second velociraptor then rooster kicks it in the head, sending it off the cliff. Yeah, that was unexpected, but I love how it was unexpected. Like, I was expecting the velociraptor to full on pounce it and kill it at the neck. No, it full on rooster kicks it and knocks it off, Mufasa style, and I'm just like, whoa, that was brutal. Yeah, so I don't think the Prenocephaly needed as dramatic a death as that, but it was certainly interesting to see if a velociraptor could have used a method like that. It would certainly be interesting. Once the herd had cleared, the Tarbosaurus then move in to feed on the sauropod carcass, and this season seems to show these carnivores in a time of plenty, whereas last season it was sort of sparse and they were really trying to find resources, but this time it seems like the land is much more rich and the opportunities for food are there this time. So the velociraptors and their young then move in to feed on the Prenocephaly prize. We then head to a desert region, which I only assume is probably Tibet, as Chrysoraptor is from southern China, so maybe it could be found in the western region of the country too. I don't know. I mean, a potential species they could have swapped out for this would be Elmosaurus, an oviraptor from the Nemec Formation, which would make sense given a reason we will get into in a second. Yeah, I think Chrysoraptor, I mean, maybe. I don't know, like, this is one of the only things I was curious about as to why the Corythoraptors were in the desert when they're from southern China, but who knows? It was a very different world back then, so anything's possible. So we are shown the male Corythoraptor taking care of their bright green eggs, very similar to that of a cassowary, I think, has the green eggs. So yeah, the cassowary or the emu that has the green eggs. But so they're tending them and sheltering them from the sun using their feathers on both their wings and their tails. Well, the wing feathers on their arms and their tail feathers, and basking in the sun to ensure their eggs are safe through the day. So putting themselves through potential heat stroke to ensure the eggs survive the day. The night then falls and allows the male Corythoraptors to move away from their nest to feed, and living in the colony is beneficial when it comes to nocturnal scavengers, which takes the form of Curricula, a dromaeosaur closely related to the Velociraptor, being given a very similar design to the latter. So this female is looking to feed on the Corythoraptor eggs, and egg thievery and nest raiding is something the oviraptorids have usually been seen as doing, but that is not necessarily true. Like they could have, but dromaeosaurs could also have done it, as seen here with Kuru. And yeah, so using her large eyes, she captures as much light as possible to see in the dark, which is a primary method that allows many animals with night vision to capture as much light as possible with much larger eyes. So she begins to stalk ever closer to the eggs, and once there, she begins to feed on as many eggs as possible, as she is starving. She is then spotted and then retreats with an egg in her jaws. So yeah, can't leave without a little bit of a snack along the way. But once far away from the Corythoraptor, she calls out to her hatchlings to share the meal. And the hatchlings then emerge from the dark and begin feeding on the fresh egg. Yeah, scrambled eggs for breakfast, anyone? That's what this Mother Kuru was thinking. And then we come to another part of the Mongolian desert to meet the Tarchia brothers. So the Tarchia are introduced with the measures of them keeping cool in the desert with dark patches that protect the Tarchia's eyes from the glare of the sun, and their large armored nostrils cool air as it leaves the body, which condenses and conserves water every breath, acting as a built-in air conditioning system, as said in the show. I thought it was very similar to how Saiga antelopes' noses work, and that they're used to filter dust from the air and to warm air in winter and colder air in summer. Yeah, well, to cool air in summer and warm air in winter. Yeah, you get the gist. So, I mean, this is potentially possible. Like, many animals of this size would have to have had some method of keeping cool, given how large they are. So the Tarchia also are shown to have navigation abilities, much like that of elephants and other desert animals, being able to remember key features of the landscape they live in, such as where water is. Like this small oasis, which attracts casual visitors, such as the Prehistoric from earlier, shown to have had much blunter heads than those of the larger Pachycephalosaurus of North America. Yeah, these guys are really cute. Like, look at them. Little fellas. But the Prehistoric begin to pester the approaching Tarchia, which then scares them off with a display of strength by clubbing his tail on the ground. Yeah, that would send anybody packing. Except, it alerts an adult Tarchia resting around the waterhole, who thinks this is his patch of the desert. So this adult then sizes up to the younger Tarchia in a precursor to a fight that the adult would inevitably win, given its larger size and strength. But the second brother then returns and joins the other's side, and both are able to intimidate the larger Tarchia, and are free to drink. They are free to drink. Are they? I don't know. But for now they are. So then we return to the Deccan Traps, where winds have cleared much of the harmful gases from the land, And after a few months of incubation, baby icysaurs, shown complete with their egg tooth at the front of their head, emerge from the volcanic soil and gather in their dozens. The small hatchlings are said to be less than a foot long, which is about the size range current estimates place a newborn sauropod. So the only food the babies have in the crater are the droppings left by the females before they left, which contain the plant matter and digestive bacteria the icysaurs need to begin their growth. And yeah, with no time to waste, because they got to get out of here. The hatchlings must make their way back to the forest, and the adults across the volcanic flats, which are currently mostly safe. I say mostly safe because there are a bunch of lava pools and pits of superheated mud, which are hazardous traps laid like a minefield across these lands. Yeah, they're not called Badlands for nothing. Like, jeez. Yeah, it can't get any worse than that. Although you can. So vegetation has sprouted thanks to seeds dispersed by the owl's droppings, giving the young icysaurs some food on the go. But they're not allowed to eat it for too long, as the gas is now gone. So the defense against potential scavengers and predators is also gone. Letting another newcomer to the series, Rajasaurus, make its debut. An abelosauroid which estimated at about 3 tons in weight and 6 to 9 meters in length. So much like the Majungasaurus from yesterday's islands, the Rajasaurus exhibits a random assortment of osteoderms across its body. It's also complete with a beautiful molten coloration to sort of blend with the volcanic landscape. It's very thematic. Also has another singular horn on its head, much like the Majungasaurus did. So the Rajasaurus then begins to chase down the young icysaurs, eating several, and this is just one individual at this point, eats several of them, so the babies are really not catching a break so far. And it's using its great agility to track down. Like, I was watching this, and I'm surprised how agile this thing was. I was watching it and I thought, this is like a raptor. But yeah, it is able to move across this rocky landscape with relative ease. And consume any Icysaurus hatchlings it could possibly find. Like, this thing was hungry, and you could definitely see it. So some Icysaurus utilized the cracks and crevices in the land to hide from the Rajasaurus, which was far too large to get into the small spaces. So after a little while, more Rajasaurus began to show up and hunt more of the baby Icysaurus. So it was a full-on massacre. And you got several different individuals. You got large females, large males. You've even got some with very differently shaped horns. So, with so many more Rajasaurus around to take advantage of the feast, I did love this shot, by the way. Competition was beginning to emerge around the animals, and a few fights were able to break out, sort of giving the Icysaurus a window to escape. And one Rajasaur chases after a younger Icysaurus that manages to escape down a crack, narrowly avoiding its pursuer. And yeah, the Rajasaurus then leaves and goes to find some more food. And basically it's the Rajasaurus' way of walking off stage. And yeah, several hundred of the Icysaurus hatchlings manage to make it to the forest and scrublands where they will begin finning? No, don't fin. The poor sharks. No, they begin feeding to then grow, and with the females that survive, they will return to the crater to lay eggs of their own. But that's not the end of the episode. So the episode ends with another Prehistoric Planet Uncovered segment talking about whether dinosaurs were good parents, particularly about the Corythoraptor and Icysaurus in this episode, with the commentary of Dr. Darren Naish and Professor Paul Barrett. They talk about how the different sauropods dug trenches like many modern reptiles like sea turtles do, and lay as many eggs as they can, and then bury them. So yeah, I do love these little diagrams that they put up to show what they're talking about. So also talk about how different dinosaurs use different materials to cover their nests to help them incubate. And an example they used was like the Australian brush turkey, a ground fowl that's found in my local area, actually. So it lays its eggs and covers them with a compost heap of dead leaves and other fallen vegetation, which then through the, the decomposition process creates heat to help incubate the eggs below. Professor Barrett then goes on to talk about a discovery in Argentina of a clutch of dinosaur eggs found next to a volcanic hot spring, which led to evidence suggesting dinosaurs may have used the Earth itself as an incubator. And another region which found similar discoveries was in fact the Deccan Traps in India. And this was where the episode showed the icysaurs utilizing the heat of volcanoes to incubate their own eggs in the volcanic soil. Then the discovery which really amazed me was talking about the layers of lava flows which contain dinosaur nests annually, and that just fascinated me. Like, when icysaurs laid their eggs, another volcano eruption would come through, cover the area in lava. Then once that cooled, the icysaurs return, lay their eggs, and then the process repeats itself. That just fascinated me, and I was originally thinking this was far-fetched, but now I am totally won over by this incredible evidence. Yeah, I love this show. This show is awesome. The science is amazing. So, that was Badlands. Episode 2 of Prehistoric Planet 2. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Not like it? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, we have Swamps tomorrow, where we will see what happens with the Ostroraptor, the Pachycephalosaurus, and our good old friend the Devil Toad, Beelzebufo of Madagascar. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe. So like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you want to see more, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.